Yeah. Probably there's no volume on your side. Probably you could unmute on your side.
I'm going to just start it again and take the sound.
Okay. Okay.
Namami Sharamsa Chidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam Namami Sharamsa Chidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam Jasoda Bhiyolu Khala Dhavomanam Paramrishtamatan Tato Drutta Gopya Jasoda Bhiyolu Khala Dhavomanam Paramrishtamatan Tato Drutta Gopya Namami Sharamsa Chidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam Rudantam Muhurnetram Jugmam Mrijantam Karam Bhoja Jugmena Shatanka Netram Rudantam Muhurnetram Jugmam Mrijantam Karam Bhoja Jugmena Shatanka Netram Muhushashukam Potri Rekhanko Kantra Sthita Graiva Damodaram Bhakti Badham Muhushashukam Potri Rekhanko Kantra Sthita Graiva Damodaram Bhakti Badham Namami Sharamsa Chidananda Rupa Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhajamana Iti Driksha Lila Bhirananda Kunde Shadhosang Nimajjantam Akhapayantam Iti Driksha Lila Bhirananda Kunde Shadhosang Nimajjantam Akhapayantam Tadishitageshu bhaktoirjitatam Puna prematastam shatabritti vande Tadishitageshu bhaktoirjitatam Puna prematastam shatabritti vande Namami Sharamsa Chidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhajamana দেব মোক্ষং না মোক্ষবধিং বা ন চান্নং গৃণে অহং বরিষদপিহা ঈদন্তে বপুরনাথ গোপাল বালা সদা মে মনসাবিরাস্তাং কিমন্নৈ ঈদন্তে বপুরনাথ গোপাল বালা সদা মে মনসাবিরাস্তাং কিমন্নৈ নমামি শারাম সা চিদানন্দ রূপম লসৎকুণ্ডলম গোকুলে ভজমানম ঈদন্তে মুখম্বোজাম অত্যন্ত নীলাই বৃতং কুন্তলাই স্নিগ্ধ রক্তৈশ্চ গোপ্যা ঈদন্তে মুখম্বোজাম অত্যন্ত নীলাই বৃতং কুন্তলাই স্নিগ্ধ রক্তৈশ্চ গোপ্যা মুহুশ্চুম্বিতং বিম্ব রক্তাধরং মে মনসাবিরাস্তামলম লক্ষ্য লাভৈ মুহুশ্চুম্বিতং বিম্ব রক্তাধরং মে মনসাবিরাস্তামলম লক্ষ্য লাভৈ নমামি শারাম সা চিদানন্দ রূপম লসৎকুণ্ডলম গোকুলে ভজমানম নমো দেব দামোদরায় অনন্ত বিষ্ণু প্রসীদ প্রভু দুঃখ জলাভিমগ্ন নমো দেব দামোদর অনন্ত বিষ্ণু প্রসীদ প্রভু দুঃখ জলাভিমগ্ন কৃপা দৃষ্টি বৃষ্টি দিনাং বতানু গৃহাণে সমামগ্রমেদ্ধক্ষি দৃশ্য কৃপা দৃষ্টি বৃষ্টি দিনাং বতানু গৃহাণে সমামগ্রমেদ্ধক্ষি দৃশ্য নমামি শারাম সা চিদানন্দ রূপম লসৎকুণ্ডলম গোকুলে ভজমানম কুবেরাত্মজৌ বদ্ধ মূর্তৈব যদ্বৎ তয়ামচিতৌ ভক্তি ভাজৌ কৃতৌ চ কুবেরাত্মজৌ বদ্ধ মূর্তৈব যদ্বৎ তয়ামচিতৌ ভক্তি ভাজৌ কৃতৌ চ তথা প্রেম ভক্তি সকাং মে প্রযচ্ছ ন মোক্ষে গ্রহমেস্তি দামোদরেহা তথা প্রেম ভক্তি সকাং মে প্রযচ্ছ ন মোক্ষে গ্রহমেস্তি দামোদরেহা নমামি শারাম সা চিদানন্দ রূপম লসৎকুণ্ডলম গোকুলে ভজমানম নমস্তেস্তু দামনে স্ফুরদীপ্তিধামনে তদীয়োদরায়থ বিশ্বস্য ধামনে নমস্তেস্তু দামনে স্ফুরদীপ্তিধামনে তদীয়োদরায়থ বিশ্বস্য ধামনে নমো রাধিকায় তদীয় প্রিয়ায় নমো অনন্ত লীলায় দেবায় তুভ্যাম নমো রাধিকায় তদীয় প্রিয়ায় নমো অনন্ত লীলায় দেবায় তুভ্যাম Namami Sharansa Chidananda Rupa Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhajamana Namami Sharansa Chidananda Rupa Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhajamana Namami Sharansa Chidananda Rupa Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhajamana.
Hare Krishna. Welcome again to all the devotees online. Thank you very much for your kind association and your interest in associating with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his Sri Siksastakam. Today we're going to be covering verse 1. Let us do the invocation. Om Jnanatimi Vandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Sri Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Acharya. All glories to all the devotees of Lord Gauranga. Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunaya Varti Narkalo Samar Paitum Unnat Tojvalam Rasam Swabhaktim Shriyam Haripurata Sundara Dvitikadam Bhak Sandipita Sadaridaya Kandar Kandare Spuratu Swasachinandana. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Sri Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the own innermost chamber of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shaktirasmad Ekatmanav Api Bhuvi Pura Deha Bedam Gatoto Chaitanyakyam Praktam Aduna Tad Dvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radhabhava Duitisu Valitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and the complexion of Srimati Radhavani, although he is Krishna himself. Hare Krishna. So let us cover some feedback. I'm going to allow you to also unmute yourself. For those that were here yesterday, please share anything that caught your attention, anything that you felt that you had to memorize, something new you learned. Please type that in the chat, or you can unmute and also share that audibly. Let us just briefly cover what we covered yesterday in terms of the introduction. And the Acharya Siddhi says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, if we simply expose to the extreme, superb, extraordinary 8 verses of Siksastakam, we will get the conclusion of Krishna consciousness. Yes. The whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness is encapsulated in these 8 verses. And encapsulated, I just got a correction. From beginning to end. Nalini Kanta says, Chaitanya Charitamrita is none different from Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna. Karunarika says, the glories of Siksastakam. Yes. We heard about these special verses that were spoken and given directly to us by Sri Mahaprabhu. No other written works is given by Sri Mahaprabhu directly himself besides these 8 verses. So therefore, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, as followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we treasure these verses. They are extremely important. Mukund says the importance of satsang, coming together in congregation. We should not underestimate the power, the potency. 90% of our spiritual advancement is dependent on association. Association can increase your bad habits, and association, satsang, can help you advance in spiritual life. Amavati says, Lord Chaitanya was so kind and merciful, he threw his book in the Ganges, so his friend's book could be read. Personification of mercy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes. He's the Supreme Lord himself. He could have easily said, no, this is the book that needs to be heard, because this will benefit everyone. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the personification of humility also. Bafana Prabhu says, most intensifying is desire to master the systematic breakdown of the prayers from the Lord through the acharyas. Didn't get your second word. Desire to master. Most interesting is desire to master the systematic breakdown of the prayers from the Lords through the acharyas. So Sri Mahaprabhu gave these prayers, and the previous acharyas have taken these prayers and they've broken them down. They've given commentaries on these. And what we're going to cover is only a tip of the iceberg. Because just as Krishna is Nava Yovana, Krishna is eternal, Krishna's glories are eternal. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories are eternal. His pastimes are eternal. Similarly, these 8 verses and the glories and the exposition, the understanding, the depth of these verses are also eternal. We're going to say Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita can be seen as a doctrine or a doctorate of spiritual studies, the highest level of spiritual study. Because Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita includes Bhagavad Gita, it includes Srimad Bhagavatam, and it has the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, it's really complete. It's a complete philosophical thesis. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a philosophical thesis, philosophical exposition. And there are other scriptures like Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Bhagavat, which are the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Jivananda process. Narata Nivritti is the most difficult stage, and it's downhill from there. Siksastakam demonstrate these completely. Siksastakam Siksastakam demonstrate these completely. So we'll see in our own life, this journey is like that. In fact, it's really difficult to see the progression to the uphill because it's only uphill. And in most cases, we're wondering, am I really making advancement? Am I really, is it really working? So today we'll be expanding on that. Ramavati says, if it was not for our Srila Prabhupada, we would not know Lord Chaitanya and his beautiful verses he gave us. Yes, most definitely. Prabhupada gave us Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada went from India to America. He had copies of Bhagavatam to distribute, but for him, for his personal reading, he had Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Prabhupada wanted Chaitanya Charitamrita to give to the world. He pushed the devotees to publish all the volumes in 6 or 8 months. And they went on a Maha marathon. They completed it. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is a PhD of Vedic literatures. Great. Thank you very much for everyone's feedback. Let us proceed to text 1. So Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is the doctorate study of spiritual wisdom. And in any scripture or any writing, and you'll see this also in Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports. When Prabhupada writes, like when he's writing the Bhagavatam, you'll see the initial beginning content, like the preface of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, is really, really key and important. And the conclusion is also key and important. The introduction is basically covering what's going to be presented. Then the body is expanding that content. And the conclusion is wrapping up and giving the conclusive instructions. So we can look at Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in the same light. And you can also do this practice whenever you're reading Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports. When you're reading a purport, just look at the first 1 or 2 lines and look at the last 1 or 2 lines. They're like punch lines. I call them power lines. They're very powerful. Prabhupada's opening, Prabhupada's conclusion, sometimes these lines are very, very powerful. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, the beginning is very important. The content is very important, but the conclusion is most important, especially because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with a purpose. One of the purposes was to distribute pure love of Krishna. And the other was to relish that pure love of Krishna, especially that love in the wake of the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis, and Srimati Radhavani. So therefore, the final chapters are imbued with these ecstasies. And the final of the final instructions is Sri Siksastakam. So we can get a glimpse that these verses are spiritually powerful. They're spiritually potent in terms of the instructions that they're sharing, the wisdom, and they're imbued with pure devotion and mercy. So simply by associating with these verses, we will make advancement. By understanding them and by applying these instructions, we will make advancement. Srila Prabhupada's purports are also very deceptively simple. We may read, just like, and here I'm referring also to the Siksastakam verses. We may read these verses, but when we read these verses, we are no more the same. Let's say I start at verse 1 and I finish at verse 8. When I started at verse 1, my level of consciousness was at a certain point. When I finish reciting these verses and associating these verses, my level of consciousness has become purified and a notch higher. Therefore, if I keep associating with these verses, my devotion will go deeper and deeper and deeper. Here, I'm just going to read an excerpt from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he is talking about how these verses can be used and contemplated upon. We definitely may not be on this level at all. We may still be just at chanting Hare Krishna, chanting and hearing. But this is just to give you a snapshot that as we progress, these same verses will be aiding us at different stages in our devotion. And we'll be able to contemplate and use them at different stages of our devotion. The pastimes of Krishna are not within the Siksastakam. By bhajan, using these verses, the pastimes will gradually appear. First, meditate on the first verse for some days. Then, with the second verse, should become expert. With the first 4 verses, one should make the bhajan mature. With the 5th verse, one should choose a Siddha Deha, starting to take shelter of Radha's lotus feet in that body. By the verse, one gradually advances. Meditating on the 6th verse, the anarthas are further destroyed. Then one becomes fully qualified for the Siddha Deha. Siddha Deha means your spiritual form. If without qualification, one meditates on one Siddha Deha, opposite mentality will arise due to lack of Shakti. If one desires perfection, follow the proper sequence carefully. Observing the character of the devotees, become of pure intelligence. When on receiving a Siddha Deha, one meditates, one will easily attain joyous service during the 8 parts of the day. Meditate on Siksastakam while performing Smaran and Kirtan. Gradually, the service during the 8 parts of the day will manifest. All anarthas will go, and the treasure of Prem will manifest without giving regard to Artha, Dharma, Kama, and Moksha. So here we see, just by contemplating, by meditating on these verses, the pastimes of Krishna will be revealed. And Krishna has Astakalya Lila, 8 different times with specific pastimes. And all these will be revealed through these verses. In fact, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says that these 8 verses each represent one of the 8 periods of the day related to the 8 pastimes of Krishna. Now, if we consider, we said that Siksastakam prayers is like our GPS from beginning to end. When you have a GPS, like Google Maps or any other GPS, first, in terms of using it, you have to have a destination where you want to go. So you punch in the address. I want to go to this place. Now, the GPS is going to give you a route. You need to have faith in the GPS that the GPS is going to take you to your destination, and you need to be following that route. You cannot decide whimsically to just take any direction. So first, we need to be convinced of our destination. Where do we really want to go? What is our final destination? Then we need to have firm faith in the guidance and the direction that we are given to get to that destination. And we have to be convinced, there's to be conviction that this is the right path. And I will achieve perfection simply by following. Sri Siksastakam is clearly giving us a clear destination, which is pure love of Krishna. And it's delineating the route, the direction, the steps to get there. So I'm going to, we're going to go through the Siksastakam verses, and I've decided to play a recording of the recitation by His Grace Saru Damodar, a musician, who sang those verses very beautifully in a different tune, which I also wanted to memorize, and I found a nice recording. So for me also, it'll be a wonderful way to try to learn the tune. So you can also try to recite as we're going through these verses. I'm going to unmute myself as well, just so that I can also recite it loudly on my side.
Cheto darpan marjanam Bhav mahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam Vidyavadhu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam Pratipadam purnamrita swadanam Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Glories to Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all dust accumulated by youth, and extinguishes the fire of conditioned life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is a prime benediction for humanity at large, because its praise, the rays of benediction. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste nectar, for which we are always anxious.
Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shakti Tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kalaha Etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi Durdaiva miha janinanuragaha.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to the living beings, and thus your hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you invested all your transcendental energies. There are no hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, Lord of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your chanting, by chanting the holy names. But I'm so unfortunate, I have no attraction.
Trinadapi sunichena tarorapyasena तदपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीय सदा हरि.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in a street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये. मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवता भक्ति अहेतुकी त्वयि.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth.
ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्करम् पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधो. कृपया तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तया.
O son of Maj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean, from this ocean of death, and place me as one of the atoms, your lotus feet.
नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा. पुलकैर्निचितं बहु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs on my body stand at the recitation of your name?
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितम् शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे.
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world, in your absence.
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनष्टुमाम् अदर्शनान्मनोहतां करोतु वा. यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Siksastakam ki jai. So yesterday we covered this structure, and today we're going to go over the first verse. So we see in the first verse that it's going to speak about congregational chanting of the holy names, and it's covering sadhana bhakti. It's also focusing on sambandha gyan, our relationship with Krishna, and it's also focusing on abhidaya. And the first verse is also related to the first stage of the 9 steps or 9 stages of pure devotional service, Shraddha. So as we go through these different, or at least you break down the first verse, keep this in mind, that it's talking about relationship, it's talking about the process, it's talking about sadhana bhakti and shraddha, faith. And in order to establish, in order to solidify our faith, we need either experience or we need to get, or at least appreciate, the reward that we're going to get. The greater the reward, the greater there is faith in applying the process. So Srijat Mahaprabhu is going to share with us what is the reward of chanting the holy names of Krishna. So the question is, what is the most excellent form of spiritual practice or sadhana? Please type in the chat if you know. What is the most excellent form of spiritual practice? From all the different practices that are there, from all the 64 angas and unlimited number of practices which are described in scripture, different aspects of devotional practices, karma kanda, jnana kanda, yoga, all the different practices there. Which one is the most excellent? Yes, chanting the holy names, Sankirtan. Good. So, glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Edmund Prabhu says, so powerful, I was sobbing. I can't explain. Most powerful practice for me is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting Mahamantra. Yes. So it's not devotional service, because hearing, chanting, taking prasad, associating, worshipping the deity, these are all devotional practices. But what's glorified in the first verse, glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is a prime benediction for humanity at large, because its praise the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. So the most super excellent form of practice, which is glorified throughout the Vedas and especially Srimad Bhagavatam, which is said to be the Amala Puran. Srijat Mahaprabhu's philosophy is based on Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, Srijat Mahaprabhu was eager to distribute the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam and regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the 6th canto, verse 2, text 46, Nata param karma nibanda krintanam mumukshaktam tirtha padanu kirtanat nayat punya karmashu sajate mano rajas tamobhyam kalilam tato nyata. Therefore, one who desires freedom from material bondage should adopt the process of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at whose feet all the holy places stand. One cannot derive the proper benefit from other methods such as pious atonement, speculative knowledge, and meditation, mystic yoga, because even after following such methods, one takes to fruitive activities again, unable to control his mind, which is contaminated by the base qualities of nature, namely passion and ignorance. So in this verse, we are hearing why all other processes are not glorified as the highest. And chanting and glorifying the name, form, pastimes, qualities of the Lord is said to be the most super excellent. It's because chanting the names of Krishna and his glories eradicates the desire at the root. It actually cures the disease at the root. Whereas the other processes, they may remove the issue, the symptoms, the difficulties, the problems, the suffering, but they do not remove the desire. And therefore one falls prey again to fruitive activities, to sense gratification again. So we should be convinced that the process Srila Prabhupada has given us which is glorifying, chanting the name, fame, pastimes of the Supreme Lord, is the most super excellent for us to apply. And if we apply this, none of the narratives that are eradicated by this process will take root again in our consciousness. As long as we keep satsang, we keep good association, we will be protected and never fall prey to passion and ignorance again. Srijit Mahaprabhu in this verse gives us 7 glories, excellence of chanting Hare Krishna. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, cleanses the mirror of the heart. This is the first benefit. Then Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, extinguishes the forest fire material existence. Second, Shreya Kaira Chandrika Vitaram, diffuses the moon rays of Bhava Bhakti for the highest good of the Jiva. Third, fourth, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, it is a life of all transcendental knowledge. Fifth, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, increases the ocean of bliss. Sixth, Pratipadam Purnam Swadanam, enable one to taste complete nectar at every step. And 7, Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. So Sarvat Snapanam, completely inundate one with pure devotion. I'm going to go now through each one and expand. So the first one, Chetodarpana Marjanam. We find in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7, verse 27, Krishna says, Icha dvesha samutena dvanda mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoham sarga yanti parantapa. Ocean of Skyona Bharata, O conqueror of the fool. All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. So here the Lord is describing that every living entity that comes into this material creation, they are born into delusion. And what is this delusion? What is this ignorance? What is this covering? This covering is the bewilderment that arises from desire and hate. All living entities in this world have these 2 obstacles: desiring sense gratification and envy or hate. And we subtly and grossly, we extend this even to the Supreme Lord. We want to enjoy, we don't want to give enjoyment to Krishna. We envy Krishna's position, and therefore we do not want to surrender to Krishna. So all living entities are plagued with this ignorance, with this delusion. And in order to remove this bewilderment, this ignorance, this illusion, the holy name has appeared by the mercy of Srijit Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Cheto Darpanam Marjanam. Cheta means either the heart, mind, or materially souled consciousness. So Cheta is referring to the heart, mind, or consciousness. Darpanam means a mirror, and Marjanam means to cleanse. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we actually cleansing the mirror of the heart. We cleansing the mirror of the mind. We cleansing our consciousness. This is what the chanting does. Here on the right-hand side, you see a mirror that's really dirty. And because of this dirty mirror, you cannot see through. You cannot see clearly. The mirror is obscuring your vision to see the truth, to see reality. And the more duisha, the more envy, the more desires, itcha we have, the more this mirror gets covered. There is no material mechanism to cleanse this dirt. The only transcendental product, personality that can cleanse the mirror of the heart is chanting. So this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the filth of ignorance on the heart prevents the jiva from seeing the actual form. So we should understand that if we identify with this body, we will not be able to see the truth, see reality. And therefore, we need to cleanse the mirror of our heart and consciousness. And the holy name is doing that. So the cleansing agent is chanting Hare Krishna. When we spray the holy name through our ears, goes into our consciousness, then this mirror can be cleansed and we're able to see Krishna. We're able to see our identity. In the 12th canto, this verse is there. When people properly glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead or simply hear about his power, the Lord personally enters their hearts and cleanses away every trace of misfortune, just as the sun removes the darkness or as a powerful wind drives away the clouds. So when we hear the holy name, Krishna enters our ears, goes to our heart, and personally cleanses our heart. Therefore, no amount of dirt is an obstacle for Krishna to cleanse. Krishna can cleanse unlimited amount of dirt and yet remain completely transcendently situated. Apapa vidam, one of Krishna's qualities. Just like the sun can go on urine, it can absorb the urine and still stay pure. So these are narratives that we have in our heart. Lust, anger, greed, jealousy, and all different types of desires and narratives. To measure Cheto Darpana Marjanam, it is a good practice to have a private notebook. And in this private notebook, you write all the top major anarthas. We know ourselves in terms of what obstacles or anarthas I have in my own personality. The attachments that are non-Krishna conscious. So I write those down. I'm attached to X, Y, and Z. I have this anartha, I have this issue, I have this problem. And try to put it from major to minor. And then next to it, you can give a rating, say 1 to 10, in terms of, how detrimental is this anartha to you in terms of influence, because some anarthas may have a greater influence on you and you succumbing to those anarthas more than others. Some anarthas may appear at different intervals. Other anarthas will practically be there, every day. They may also be triggers for those anarthas. So just rate the anarthas. How strong are they in your consciousness, in your being? Okay, and keep that as a checklist. Then apply the process of hearing and chanting and devotional service diligently, nicely, sincerely. And after 1 year, take this list again and reevaluate. Now, there may be 1 or 2 other narratives that need to come on the list, but what you will find is that some narratives especially the ones at the bottom, they just dropped off of the notepad mystically. And then you'll find some of the narrators that are on the top list with a high rating, and the influence of those are less. And it could be that maybe the strength is still more, hasn't reduced, but the frequency of those narrators attacking you may have reduced. And this must happen if you're sincerely practicing the process, because this is Cheto Darpana Marjana. It's cleansing. It has to happen. In some cases, like there are stories, one devotee, she was forced to chant Hare Krishna by her parents or by a friend. And she started chanting, and all of a sudden, as soon as she started chanting, she forgot about smoking. That's how powerful the Cheto Darpanam was in her case. So for each one of us, it will be different. But rest assured, over time, this notepad of your narrators will slowly decrease, until at one point it will go blank. There'll be no narrators on this list. That may take time, but at least the gross and the main ones, you'll be able to measure this. So we don't become upset from the narrators that we have. We really put them on a piece of paper. That's basically where they belong. And that's their worth on the piece of paper. And we apply the process. Right? So we focus on the positive aspect of chanting the holy names of Krishna and let Krishna take care of our narrators. As the narrators and our heart, as the narrators are reduced and our heart is getting cleansed, Marjanam, these 5 truths will be revealed by the holy name. The holy name will reveal the Supreme Lord. The holy name will reveal our identity. The holy name will reveal the nature of this material world. You begin to understand the influence of time and the aspect of fruitive activities. The subject matter that is contained in Bhagavad Gita, you will get revelation of that knowledge. Divya Gyan Hirdya Prakashito. The knowledge will manifest to the degree our heart becomes purified. And the heart will become purified to the degree, to the sincerity, to the degree that we chant the holy names sincerely. Then second aspect is Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. So Bhava means material existence. Maha means great. Dava means the forest. And Agni means fire. So Mahadavagni means the blazing forest fire. And Nirvapanam means extinguishing. So chanting the holy names of Krishna, congregational chanting, Sankirtan, this process will extinguish the blazing forest fire of material existence. A forest fire, when it starts, is uncontrollable. We don't know how it starts, and it's very difficult to extinguish. But the holy name, which acts like showers, torrents of rain, will completely extinguish this forest fire. And what does it mean to extinguish the forest fire? It means our material existence will be extinguished. It means our materialistic demeanor, attitude will be extinguished. It means repeated birth and death will be extinguished by the power, blessing of chanting Hare Krishna. And as long as we continue steadily engaging in the Lord's service, this forest fire will be completely extinguished. So this is the second excellence of the holy name. First was cleansing the heart, internal cleansing, and second, external blessing, external cleansing, external purification in relation to the material nature. Then the third, Shreya Kaiva Chandrika Vitaram. Shreya means of good fortune. Kairava means white lotus. Chandrika means the moon's shine. And Vitaram means spreading. Now, generally a lotus, when the sun rises, the lotus starts to open. When the sun sets, a lotus generally closes. But white lotuses, and here specifically these white lotuses, they open when there is moonshine. And the sun's heat, scorching heat, can be burning. But the brilliant effulgent moon shine, its rays are cooling. Therefore, Srijat Mahaprabhu is using this analogy of Chandrika and not Surya, because the moon's rays are soothing and cooling. And when the rays of the moon shines on the lotus of good fortune blooms. Similarly, when the holy name shines on the heart of the living entity, then the living entity is blessed with good fortune, with auspiciousness. We know in Nectar Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami discusses that by the practice of devotional service, one gets subhada, auspiciousness, all auspiciousness. So by chanting Hare Krishna, by engaging in congregational chanting, our life will become all auspicious. There will be no misfortune in one's life, only good fortune. Then Vidya Vadu Jivanam. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. So Vidya means of all education. Vadu means wife, and Jivana means the life. So chanting Hare Krishna is the life of all education. It is the conclusion of all education, and it is the life of all education. Vadu means wife. And just as a wife is faithful and follows the husband, similarly, transcendental knowledge, like a young bride, always follows the holy name, like a faithful wife. So wherever there is chanting of Hare Krishna, rest assured, they will be the perfection of all knowledge. All knowledge will be manifested to one, as well as the highest understanding of all education is chanting Hare Krishna. So that means if one is chanting Hare Krishna, he's really the most intelligent, Susumedasar, most intelligent. It is said that a result of acquiring devotion is that devotees become illuminated with spiritual knowledge. Further chanting matures that knowledge into realization, which in time reveals devotees' original position in one of the 5 relationships with Krishna. As we chant Hare Krishna, as Cheto Darpana Marjanam is happening, we will find more and more our life becoming auspicious, and our identity, first as servant of Krishna, is becoming solidified, and more one day the revelation of our true spiritual identity, that Siddha Deha that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was talking about, will manifest. So we don't really need to do anything separate outside chanting the holy names of Krishna. Simply by embracing the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, everything will be revealed. Whatever we need will be revealed to us. Then, in terms of further elaboration of Vidyavada Jivanam, devotional service focuses exclusively on increasing our attachment to Krishna is the goal of education, as well as the force that drives us forward. So the more we become attached to Krishna, that means our education, the goal of our education is reached. Because education, real knowledge, as Prabhupada would say, for example, real knowledge means to know the difference between matter and spirit. That's one level. And you'll see in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is giving different gradations of knowledge. Like in chapter 2, Krishna is giving contents of the Gita summarized. Then Krishna is giving transcendental knowledge, chapter 4. Then Krishna is giving more confidential knowledge. Then Krishna is giving most confidential knowledge. So different levels of education. The goal of all education, the sum and substance of all education is attachment to Krishna. And how do we measure attachment to Krishna? We all want to be attached to Krishna. So how do we measure attachment? We measure attachment to Krishna by measuring our attachment to the holy name. How do we measure that I love Krishna? We measure our love for Krishna by our love for the holy name. How do we measure our attentiveness to Krishna? We measure our attentiveness to Krishna by measuring our attentiveness to the holy name. So this is how we can actually measure attachment. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Isharana Gati says, that person is a true preceptor or a true father, a true mother, and a true friend also only if they teach one to always remember the holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. So chanting Lord Hari's name is the eternal occupational duty of the jiva. When one achieves perfection in one's relationship with Krishna, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, one is chanting Hare Krishna, one is engaging congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna, one is purifying one's heart. When one's heart becomes purified, what do you do with chanting Hare Krishna? Chanting Hare Krishna continues, which means that Sankirtan, congregational chanting, glorification of God's name, form, pastimes, is the means as well as the end. It is there in the beginning, it is there in the middle, it's there in the end. It is an eternal companion of the living entity. And because it is something that's going to be with you eternally, we might as well learn to become attached to it sooner than later, because it is going to be our eternal companion, eternal friend. Then fifth, Anandam Burdi Vardhanam, increases the ocean of bliss. We will not continue on a path, on a process, if we do not feel ecstasy, we not feel the bliss, if we do not feel happy internally. So Srila Mahaprabhu says this chanting of Hare Krishna, this Sankirtan process, this is Ananda of bliss, Ambudi, the ocean, and Vardhanam, increasing. So it's an ocean of bliss, but not just an ocean of bliss, it is an ever increasing ocean of bliss. That means this ocean is ever increasing. It's like buying a product, and that product just keeps increasing and keeps giving you the benefit. It doesn't exist in the material sphere, material creation. But in the spiritual world, this process of chanting Hare Krishna is eternally credited to one. And one never lose access or benefit. In fact, the benefit keeps increasing. It's ascribed even during Kartik. Any pious activity, any devotional activity that one does in this month of Kartik keeps giving eternal credits. Now, this Ananda is actually the pleasure potency of Krishna. So as one is engaging in Sankirtan, in congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna, in chanting Hare Krishna in the form of japa as well, then one gets the blessing and the mercy of Srimati Radhavani, the Ladini Shakti. By her mercy, one begins to feel pleasure. Srila Prabhupada one time, he asked the devotees, how do you know Krishna is God? And the different devotees were sharing different points. They said, well, Prabhupada, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, and Prabhupada was giving counter arguments. He said, well, somebody could have written that. Prabhupada, you said, I'm an old man, I could lie. So in this way, they were giving different arguments and Prabhupada was counteracting. Then Prabhupada concluded. He said, because you can feel Krishna. See, feeling is something no one can force you. It's something that comes from internal, from inside. So it's genuine. Therefore, by practicing this process and you feel something internally, you know it's genuine. Another time, Srila Prabhupada asked the devotees, how many of you are feeling, happy when you're chanting, bliss when you're chanting? And none of the devotees picked up their hands because, it's like, no, man, bliss is totally different. And Prabhupada said, no, everyone is feeling something. Otherwise, you won't continue chanting. The fact that you're continuing to chant means there's something there. It may not be as tangible as real bliss, but that will come. Because these are in sequence, in stages, right? So this is at the you could say fifth level, fifth gear. First gear is Chetodarpana Marjanam. So we need to master that aspect. We really need to go through that aspect of Chetodarpana Marjanam. Cleansing, 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 cleansing. Once we go through the cleansing, then slowly these different stages will come. Then it is said, as much as the heart is relieved of unwanted habits, to that degree we become devoted to Krishna. As much as devotion is firmly fixed in our hearts, to that degree we acquire realized knowledge. And as much as the heart is illumined by both devotion and knowledge, to that degree we taste spiritual happiness. In this way, the ocean of bliss swells. Bhaktya sanjataye bhaktya. That means that devotion gives rise to devotion. The more we associate with the holy name, the more devotion will begin to rise in our heart. The more our heart becomes purified and blessed by the holy name, the more we will get devotion and knowledge. And then bliss will come. Bliss is a byproduct. This is the first verse of the Siksastakam. It is not the goal. The goal is the 8th verse. 7th and 8th verse is the prayojan. That's the goal. So this is the first verse, but yet we see right in the first verse, we are getting such great gifts and benefits from chanting Hare Krishna. We're getting Anandam Burdi Vardam. We're getting an ocean of bliss. These are byproducts. These are byproducts. But it's important because without taste, the living entity cannot survive. Just like Krishna is also pleasure seeking. The living entity also, Ananda Vyasat, we also pleasure seeking. We also want to look for pleasure. So pleasure will come through the process of devotional service. Then 6, Pratipadam Namrita Swadanam. Pratipadam means at every step. Purna Amrita, of full nectar. And Ashwadanam, giving a taste. We will taste nectar at every step. And that nectar at every step will not be boring. It will be exciting at every step. Pure love of Krishna is eternally established in the heart of the living entity. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. So we simply have to apply this beautiful process given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. The process is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The mercy is there, and we can achieve the highest perfection. When devotees finally achieve the perfection of chanting, they taste the full nectar of loving devotion to Krishna, a nectar that makes the bliss of liberation seem insignificant. Nectar devotion also, Srila Rupa Goswami is comparing liberation with the taste that one gets from the practice of devotional service. And you cannot compare. It's like one drop compared to the ocean. Cannot be compared. So we can look forward to these experiences. And these experiences and the excellences of the holy name that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is sharing to give us greater impetus to chant the holy name, to instill greater faith for us to chant the holy name, to give us greater aspiration to chant the holy name. Before we chant, we can meditate on this verse. We can contemplate that these are the gifts of chanting Hare Krishna. And then 7, Sarvatma Snapanam. Sarvatma. Sarva means for everyone. And Atma Snapanam, bathing the self. So the holy name will bathe one completely in nectar, in bliss. The holy name thoroughly bathes the living entity, internal and external, leaving them clean and cool. Chanting frees conditioned souls from the illusion of identifying themselves with their body and mind, and establishes them in the cleansed and cooling reality that they are eternal spiritual entities. So all the deception, all the dualities, all the anarthas, all the illusion, all the miseries, all the suffering, the samsara of birth and death, this all will be eradicated, and one will be simply drowned in an ocean of bliss. That's why when we hear Srila Rupa Goswami saying that when I chant Hare Krishna, when I chant Krishna, I cannot comprehend how much nectar is in these 2 syllables, Krishna. I want millions and millions of ears and millions of tongues. So these great personalities, they've been experiencing this. And we simply have to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions as he's directing in his Bhakti-Ravindra purports, so that we can also access these wonderful gifts of the holy name. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concludes Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan, that this congregational chanting of Krishna's names will be Parama Vijayate. Param means transcendental, supermost. Vijayate means glory, victory. So Sri Mahaprabhu is also benedicting the holy name, that the holy name will achieve this position. It's glorious. And anyone who's chanting the holy name will become glorious. Any activity that we embrace with Shri Krishna Sankirtan becomes glorious, becomes victorious. There is victory in Shri Krishna Sankirtan. We see Srila Prabhupada, he also perfected Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. So just to go over the breakdown, Param means transcendental, Vijayate, let there be victory. For the congregational chanting of the holy name, Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Srila Prabhupada, he went to the West and he started the Hare Krishna movement through congregational chanting. He expanded the movement through congregational chanting. And this movement is continuing to grow through congregational chanting. So similarly, our lives, we can start our spiritual practice by chanting Hare Krishna. Our spiritual practice can grow and deepen and flourish by chanting Hare Krishna. And it can go to newer and newer heights simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna. Prabhupada, one time he asked his disciples, why did I write all these books? Prabhupada had written over 80 volumes of books. And Prabhupada asked them, why did I write all these books? And the devotee, I think Hamsadutta Prabhu, was giving different reasons. And then Prabhupada answered his question. He said, I've simply written these books to convince you of chanting Hare Krishna. So we have to ask ourselves, are we convinced beyond doubt that the Hare Krishna mantra given to us by Sri Mahaprabhu, which is extolled in all the different scriptures as the highest composition of the holy names of Krishna, Kali Kala Namurupa Krishna avatar, descended in this age of Kali. Iti Shodashikam Namnam Kali Kalmashanasham. Lord Brahma says, after searching through all the Vedic scriptures, one will not find a process as potent, as powerful as the Hare Krishna mantra. And here, Sri Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Bhagavat says, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhu kahe kahilan, ei Mahamantra, iha japa giya sabe, kariya nirbanda, iha ite sarva siddhi, haive sabat sabara, sarva shana bala ite vidina hi ara. Sri Mahaprabhu said, I've spoken this Mahamantra. Now, all of you return home and perform japa and kirtan of the holy name with great love and faith, keeping track of the number of rounds you chant. By this practice, all types of perfection will arise. Always chant the holy name, for there are no rules and regulations regarding its performance. At every moment, utter this Maha mantra. And in conclusion, to conclude this first verse that is sharing the seven excellences, the seven gifts of the holy name, seven benedictions of the holy name, chanting Hare Krishna, that the holy name is giving us, bestowing upon us. I'm going to share this wonderful song, bhajan, glorifying the holy name. You can read the translation as the song is being played. Beautiful translation.
मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्यो विमङ्गलम् पावनं पावनेभ्योऽपि हरेर्नामैव केवलम् आब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्तम् सर्वं मायामयं जगत् सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं हरेर्नामैव केवलम् सगुरु सपिता चापि समाता बन्धवोऽपि स शिक्षये चेत् सदा स्मर्तुं हरेर्नामैव केवलम् निश्वासेन हि विश्वासः कदारुद्धो भविष्यति कीर्तनीयामतो बाल्या हरेर्नामैव केवलम् सदा वसेत्तत्र यत्र भागवता जना गायन्ति भक्तिभावेन हरेर्नामैव केवलम् अहो दुःखं महादुःखम् दुःखतरं यत् काचार्थं विस्मृतं रत्नं हरेर्नामैव केवलम् दीयतां कर्णो नियतां वच गीयतां नित्यं हरेर्नामैव केवलम् त्रिनिकृत्या जगत्सर्वं राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धं हरेर्नामैव केवलम् मङ्गलेभ्यो विमङ्गलम् पावनं पावनेभ्योऽपि हरे नामैव केवलम् हरे नामैव केवलम् हरे नामैव केवलम्
Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai. Nitai Go Pramanande Hari Hari Bo. Right. So if there are any questions, comments, I am going to also allow you to unmute. You're most welcome to unmute yourself as well if you want. If anyone has any questions, please let me know in the chat or you can unmute. Edmund Prabhu, sure, thank you, Hare Krishna. When is the best time to recite Sri Siksastakam? So it's a good practice to chant in the morning, and preferably before you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, so that it focuses. Some devotees use this as a practice, that before they chant Hare Krishna, they chant the Siksastakam prayer, so that we get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and also it focuses the mind. When we go through these 7 excellences that are bestowed by the holy name, then when we chant Hare Krishna, it allows us not to neglect the holy name. It allows us not to take the holy name for granted. As that beautiful song said, it allows us not to mistaken the holy name to be some piece of glass. So like that, we can chant it anytime, but it's a good practice to reflect before chanting the holy names. Nalini Kanta, thank you for this beautiful class, so inspiring. Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Yes, there is no other way, no other way, no other way. Ravin Prabhu, Hare Krishna, thank you so much for an amazing class. And this is the only verse, this is only verse 1. Can't wait for the rest of the awesome nectar. Yes. Dharam, Hare Krishna Prabhu, is there any difference between chanting japa, Harinam Sankirtan? Yes, there is. So chanting of congregational chanting is said to be like 100 times more powerful than japa. Because why? Congregationally, we coming together and offering our love and praying to Krishna. Therefore, there's power in numbers, especially in this age. Prabhupada would give the example of, one stick can be broken. If you put a bundle of sticks, very difficult to break. So that's why congregational chanting is a very powerful way to please Krishna and improve our spiritual lives. At the same time, japa is our personal time with Krishna. So that also is very, very important. Having personal time, just like in a family. In a family, there's so many activities that the family have, but the couple, husband and wife, must have personal time so that the relationship can be nurtured. Similarly, we must have personal time with Krishna. And japa is our personal time with Krishna. Also, japa can be used to measure, as I said, japa can be used to measure our taste, our attachment, our allegiance, our attraction, our attentiveness to Krishna. It's easy to focus in kirtan. And in kirtan, we got instruments and music to aid. When you develop a taste for chanting Hare Krishna, that will enhance your kirtan, and your kirtan will enhance your japa. Yes, Vidura Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Babu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats. Thank you for your association.
Thank you very much. So we have a world tendency now in ISKCON that we see Kirtan Mela.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirtan Mela going out around the world. So what is the position of Kirtan Mela compared to personal japa?
Yes, so it is glorious that we do kirtan, like in Kirtan Mela, and we should have it every day. Prabhupada said that his desire is that every house becomes a temple, and that all those individuals where they're making a temple come to our temple to see how to set up their temple and go to the house and set a temple. So when they come to our temple, they see, okay, we have kirtan for the deities, we have 24-hour kirtan. Okay, so we need to come home and do the kirtan. So that means every home should have kirtan, congregational kirtan. So coming together and having kirtan mela, having congregational chanting, that is the yuga dharma. That is important. At the same time, not at the cost of japa. Yeah, everyone should and must do japa, because when we get initiated, the vow that Prabhupada asked us to take is, I will not attend 6 kirtan melas in a year. No, I will chant 16 rounds minimum of the Hare Krishna mantra. That's your vow. Without that basis, without that vow, then the other services cannot grow, and we can offer real sentiment, real loving devotion in our other services if that basis of chanting 16 rounds is not there. So yes, to attract people, it may be good, but it has to come to the first aspect of japa. Very important.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, let's just see. Right. Thank you. NNDD. Madachana CD says, thank you for amazing class. Shama says, thank you, much appreciation. Parini Devidasi from Mauritius says, Hare Krishna, can you explain a bit more about Sambandha aspect? So Sambandha aspect means relationship. Sambandha means relationship. What is my relationship? Who am I? Who is Krishna? And what is our relationship? I am part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am a servant of Krishna, and I'm meant to serve Krishna. This is Sambandha, the essence of Sambandha. And because I am part and parcel of Krishna, I'm a servant of Krishna, then it's the duty of the servant to serve God. But I can serve God out of fear. I can serve God out of motive, agenda. I can serve God out of duty. I can serve God out of devotion. And I can serve God out of pure devotion. So I want to improve the quality of my service, ultimately spontaneous, pure devotional service. Cookie, you have a question? Your hand is raised. Yep, you can. Okay. Ram Kingar says, dearest Nashim, brilliant presentation. Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Ram Kingar Prabhu. Namaraji, thank you. Hare Krishna, excellent class. Vaishnav Charan says, thank you very much. So grateful to you and the organizers for this course, for bringing this amazing course to us in the comfort of the homes. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful feedback. Cookie, if you still have a question, your hand is raised. You can ask your question. If not, we'd like to thank everyone for their feedback. And tomorrow we are going to be covering the second verse. So try to, tomorrow, throughout the day, try to contemplate on the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who personally has come down to give us the Hare Krishna mantra. This is the medication for us. The Hare Krishna mantra is the medication. And we simply have to accept this medication joyfully, enthusiastically, ecstatically. And the medication will do the rest. We accept, chant and hear, and the rest will be done by this powerful Hare Krishna mantra. And try to reflect and recollect all the 7 aspects of gifts that are coming through the holy name. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has established the wonderful glory of the holy name. And now he's going to go into the 2nd verse, that the holy name is so wonderful, and yet I'm such a rascal. I have no taste. Why don't I have taste? What is the problem? So tomorrow we're going to cover that aspect of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's despondency. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet he's despondent. So if you're disheartened that such amazing gifts we can get, and yet I've been chanting and chanting, and it's like I'm in a rut, I'm not going anywhere, what's wrong? We will cover that tomorrow. Ravin says, I can so relate with the feel part. I can't really explain it, but you have brought some enlightenment to how I feel. Thank you very much. Kiran, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ravin. Thank you very much, all the devotees. Mukund, all yours.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, so much for the class. Yeah, very enlightened to hear the 7, just going into deeper, the importance of chanting the Maha Mantra. So thank you so much for that. So thank you everybody for staying with us online and joining us tonight. Again, I see some devotees did contact me yesterday. If you want to go down, that's my number. I can do self-reading on your behalf on these last few days of Kartik. So you're welcome to message me and contact me. Again, if you want to join our broadcast message, that is the number. You can even message me, that I can add you to get all up to date what's happening at the Gaushala. Okay, so thank you all for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow. Like Prabhu said, we'll cover verse 2, right? Hare Krishna, everybody. I'll give you some direction of the Gomatas. I see they are up today, and they were sleeping, but they're up now, so it looks like they're waiting for the treat. Okay, Hare Krishna. 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 Vyasadeva. Rama. Damodar. Mohan. Ram. Musar. That's it, everybody. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Have a good night. See you again tomorrow. Hare Bol.